When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title is here to inform, entertain, and inspire you. Host Bill Napick from Stewart Title will talk with guests about what really matters when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Napick.
Welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Thank you for joining us once again on this radio adventure. And today is a milestone radio adventure as it is show number 300. 300, that's right, 300. That's a lot of shows, a lot of great resources for you if you ever want to go back to the archives. Stewart.com/Houston. Yes, all the shows are on there. You can see the guest. It has been a tremendous adventure, and we're still going strong. Show number 300. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the past, what we've done, where we're going. But first, we're also going to talk a lot about Houston because this has been a dynamic and a very important city to be having a radio show that focuses on real estate, focuses on the home. Yes, we've had guests from Houston primarily, but we also have had contributors from all around the country finding out what's going on in real estate in other parts of the world and the United States. So it's super fun, great information. And today, as we think about Houston, this dynamic, very unique city on the planet, we have Ralph Bivins. He is the editor of Realty News Report, formerly with the Houston Chronicle for about 17 years. He knows all about Houston real estate. He's on it day and night. RealtyNewsReport.com is where you'll find all that great information. In addition, yes, there's more. He has a new book called Houston 2020, America's BoomTown, an extreme close-up. Ladies and gentlemen, Ralph Bivins. Hey, Ralph.
Good morning, Bill.
Super awesome to see you. You know Houston real estate. You've been a journalist for, over 3 decades or so?
A long time, yeah.
A long time. So let's first tell people Realty News Report, because you have current information developing all the time and a great website, realtynewsreport.com. So let's tell them about that first.
Thank you, Bill. It's Realty News Report. We run it lean, but we get a lot of information from everywhere, from national sources, local sources, deals, people buying things, selling things, building things. And so we try to stay on top of it that way and have a lot of contacts with some of the biggest and largest companies around. And, we hear about things early sometimes, like new skyscraper going to be built in downtown Houston. Been able to keep up with that.
Indeed you are, because as you're mentioning transactions, it seems like with each one of your reports, one of the main things is you have transactions that are going to take place, sometimes name changes, things that have happened. So you really have your finger on the pulse. And as we think about Houston in general, from a real estate standpoint, commercial and residential, what is your perspective right now? It's an amazing time to be in Houston from that perspective. What do you think about when you see all the stuff going on, Ralph?
It's incredibly strong. And you wonder how long can it last, but it's incredibly strong, and we're waiting for it, for something to, can this keep going forever? Can you have a straight line just going up forever? No. Someday there's going to be, some year, we're going to have a little slide, I guess. But right now it's going really good in almost every sector. Housing's fantastic.
Jobs
are fantastic. Influx of people are coming in and to the city, and so we've got population growth, job growth, and that creates demand for real estate.
And it's interesting as you say that, as we look during just the course of, and I say just, these last 300 shows, which is about 5.67 years, but during that time, even from show number 1, as we've talked to real estate professionals, realtors, mortgage people, anyone related to real estate, it seems like that's been a current theme. The market is strong. Can it keep going? And like you're saying, it almost seems like a straight line going up, but somewhere perhaps it'll level off, take a dip. Who knows?
I think rates are low, mortgage rates are low. That's still good. There's the big things out there that, what could happen? Well, the stuff with China, the tariffs. I'm not a fan of the tariffs. I think they're hurting the customers is kind of, if you look at it from an economic standpoint, the people that buy stuff in other countries, they're not giving us the fuel we need to keep our economy going in America like it used to be. So there's a little bit of weakness out there, and we're hoping we can pass through that overseas impact without getting our whole economy kind of in a stumble. But it's okay for right now, and we just hope that the Federal Reserve will keep rates lower longer.
And we also hear that this is the fourth largest city ongoing, and we hear soon going to be the third largest city. If you were to just itemize the things that you know about from Realty News Report and even the book that you've written, from your standpoint, why are people so attracted to this city?
We've always had the can-do spirit. Things happen here. There's no barriers to entry, and we're embrace people from other cultures. People that don't speak English can come here and feel like they can get here. They can start a business, and we attract entrepreneurial types. It's kind of in our DNA, I think, to have entrepreneurial type of people that come here, and many of them will, from another country, but they can start a business, and they can grow it and hire people. And I think that kind of penetrates all the way down to the wage worker now, all the way through their whole culture. That acceptance means something for job growth and entrepreneurship, and that helps keep the economy moving forward.
It really seems like it does. In addition, I think that one of the things that happens in any kind of market like that is someone gets here and they see that, they experience that, they get a job, they get a better job, and then they tell their friends in, Pennsylvania. Next thing you know, here, let's get a U-Haul and go to Houston, Texas. Like you say in your book, America's BoomTown, right?
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and the growth's not going to stop. I think we will catch Chicago at some point, and I don't know how many decades. It could be 20 years, but we will be the third largest city in the nation.
And let's tell people a little bit more about Realty News Report. How often does this come out? People can go online. I was online this morning, and I love how it's archived. You can go back by year and by subject in a very easy way.
Anybody can go there. The site is open to anybody with an internet. RealtyNewsReport.com, updated daily events, transactions, notices of, or stories about people or places that are being built or changing or about to change. And we cover some other markets nearby too, Austin, Dallas, and really the Texas Triangle is kind of my primary target.
Give people an idea, if they haven't tuned in to the RealtyNewsReport.com, an example of maybe 2 or 3 articles that are in there right now that might be ones that you just put up.
We did report the tallest tower in Texas has just been sold. The 75-story building, it's on Texas Avenue. Pretty big deal.
That's a big sale.
Yeah, $600 and something million, we think. 627, I believe, is the right number. That's not confirmed. As in Texas, you don't have to disclose the sales price. That would make my job a lot easier if you did have to. But that's a huge deal. And I think Hines, the owner, who's the major commercial real estate player that built so many of the downtown skyscrapers and stuff, they bought that, and they're going to fix up the building, which is kind of happening a lot right now. That whole trend of these buildings built in the 80s, and there were a lot. Back in the 1980s, so much of our downtown got built because money was available, and the tax situation at that time was available. So that's another part of the trend. Old buildings built in the 80s have got to really do some major renovations. They got to bring in food courts. They've got to modernize these things because the companies want to be in buildings that appeal to the workforce, the millennials, and they don't want to, if that food court full of fast food, they want, things like that. And if you don't have that, you're not going to be competitive. So as the new buildings are continuing to be built, they're being built slowly. If you don't come in and fix those older buildings, you're not going to be what's no longer be a Class A building is what it's called. Start sliding to Class B. You're not going to be able to get the big tenants and the big companies and the big rents.
Ellen, as you mentioned, downtown, that is going through a lot of changes. It would be interesting to see if we could look into the future, 10, 20 years from now, what will Houston downtown look like?
That's a huge question. We can't be a donut. We don't want to be a donut like Detroit. You know, you gotta have the healthy core. You gotta have a heart that's got a beat to it, and you don't want to lose all that billions and billions of dollars of taxable value. But there's a lot of good news about downtown and the pipeline. And the biggest thing is what's going to happen to the roadways around it. The Pierce Elevated is going to disappear. And that in terms of development and growth, and also that's going to kind of happen on the east side of downtown behind the convention center. That road is going to be depressed and covered with green space on top of road. So you have depressed road with a beautiful park on top. What is that? The big idea, unless we discuss this in the book. Okay, so you're kind of erasing the boundaries of what's downtown, what's the central business district. Those are being erased, and we're going to see downtown kind of spread. You're not going to be able to say, oh, I've just crossed over under the Pierce Elevated, and now I've moved from official downtown into Midtown. I'm not going to, if you go to the east, you're not going to know exactly, well, you know, I've kind of left downtown, I'm now going into Edo, which is what they call East Downtown. So this gives downtown a chance to spread and grow and make it more one place, and this is going to have long-term impact.
And your book is Houston 2020, America's BoomTown. So let's talk about the book a little bit, Ralph.
Sure.
It's a great book. I'm holding it up to the YouTube camera right now.
Thank you.
But let's tell people, first of all, what inspired you to write the book? How long did it take to write? Just curious about that. And let's talk about that content that's inside.
Took a couple of years. I was born here. This is my city, and I go through my career writing smaller people's things, and I thought this time to kind of put things together a little bit, do more of an overview of what's happening in my hometown and where is it going to go. Kind of been in my heart ever since I was a kid. The bucket list. I've got to write a book. You know,
and you did, about something you love, no doubt. And in the book, you talk about downtown, but let's get out of downtown for a minute.
Sure.
I like Chapter 5, The Grand Parkway, America's Longest Loop. Let's talk a little bit about that. I like and we're talking about 99, right?
Yes, Highway 99.
And I haven't been all over 99, but my experiences with it so far, going from Katy to the Woodlands, it's been great. And Kingwood,
smooth,
super nice.
Opened up a lot of territory, hadn't it?
And it's opened up a lot of real estate opportunities to the various neighborhoods, especially on the west side, and I'm sure in other areas too. What do you say? Give us a few bullet points of what you talk about in the book of the 99 Grand Parkway.
Yeah, well, I think it made Cinco Ranch happen, and it made Katy come alive, for one thing. That first stretch there kind of proved it up, and you had Cinco Ranch, a 5,000-acre master plan community or something that's huge. And now you drive along it, and you've got, you know, La Cantera and some other, all these retail packed around there. It's really changed that. But it gave mobility for people to have affordable housing that they can, especially if you work in the energy corridor on the west side. So you can live in Cinco Ranch, get to the energy corridor, and now, as you say, we have this expansion going up of the recent expansion of the Grand Parkway comes around the north part of town. You can live in Katy and get to the big, huge Exxon headquarters, the 10,000, 10 million square foot, or no, 3 million square foot, 10,000 employees up there at 45 in the Grand Parkway. Exxon probably helped that happen. I don't know exactly how that happened, but they probably had some influence that we don't know about. But still, it's opened up a lot of land that nothing was going to happen for a while. And now you've got homes there, you got accessibility there, you got potential for growth there. And on the other hand, the critics would have a different story, and they say some of this land was prairie that was meant to be prairie, it was meant to be wetlands, it was meant to help drainage, I guess, be kind of a sponge, more or less, that would prevent water from coming down towards the main city of Houston, down Buffalo Bayou. And we look back and we see flooding happen in the inner part of Houston, and some people say, "Hey, we've kind of paved a lot of that out along the Grand Parkway. There's kind of been a lot of pavement going on there when you count sidewalks and roads and driveways, and you count rooftops, and you count parking lots in front of shopping centers. Things don't drain like they used to, and so now so there's two sides to it.
Opportunity and challenges.
Opportunity
right?
and challenges. There you go.
Well, you mentioned the energy corridor in Chapter 7. I like the way you put it, the marketing genius of the energy corridor. Give us an idea of what that is.
Well, actually, it's who. It's not what. It's more of a who. David Wolf. You drive out there, this guy bought a lot of land along on the Katy Freeway, and was able to bring companies there. And he's now approaching 80 years old. But and I'm really thinking of but what a great name for this city, for this place. There are people all over the world. They're somewhere in the Middle East in the oil community or whatever. They say, our office is in the energy corridor, and they know where it is.
They know what part of town.
Yes,
they can visualize it wherever they are.
I'm saying, what a brilliant name to come up with energy corridor that just boom. It's the most famous submarket that there is in this town, and so David Wolf did that, and it really made it go. It gave it an identity. Hundreds of energy companies, energy-related companies.
Well, Ralph, you send out, I know I get an email up for Realty News Report. If someone wants to get on your mailing list for that to get these updates of the things that are happening, the breaking news in real estate, both commercial and otherwise, what should they do?
Just send us an email for people that want subscription, and just send us an email to Realty News Report at AOL. Try that at AOL.com, and we'll get that processed.
And, of course, the website is realtynewsreport.com.
Correct, yeah.
And let's say they want to get one of these books. Tremendous book. There's so many great chapters. You talk about the Galleria, the Soul of Houston, so many things. If they want to get the book, they can get it Amazon or anywhere, I guess.
Yeah, Amazon. Not every Barnes & Noble across the nation. You can get it at Barnes & Noble, some Barnes & Nobles, River Oaks Bookstore, an indie place that I like on Westheimer across from Lamar High School.
There you go.
So it's a good bookstore.
And the title is Houston 2020, appropriately named. Here we are. It's here 2020, America's BoomTown, an extreme close-up. The author is Ralph Bivins. You can find him at realtynewsreport.com. And Ralph, before we close this segment, what else would you like people to know?
We'll be doing some book signings coming up. One at Boulevard Realty there in the Heights on November 14th. And so if you're in the Heights area, stop by that evening, and we'll do a signing and give a few remarks. But I'm just honored to be on the 300th show.
We're glad to have you, Ralph. Yeah, 300. I don't know how that worked out, but it did. Houston, 300 shows. It's an exciting city. Ralph Bivins, realtynewsreport.com. Check him out. The book is Houston 2020. Ralph's coming back a little later in the show. Thank you, Ralph, and we're coming right back after these important words. Stewart Insurance is proud to sponsor Real Estate Matters. As a Stewart company, we focus on uniting real estate and insurance. Our goal is for all clients to be properly insured. When you are properly insured, you're confident in the insurance decisions you make. Whether it's professional liability or homeowner's insurance, everyone deserves to be confident. We invite you to join the properly insured Stewart Insurance. Connect with us at stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. Stewart Insurance, stewartinsurance.com. And welcome back, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host on show number 300, still Bill Napick right here. And now we have our good friend of the show, Stuart Rosenberg. His company is Public Content, public-content.com. He brought Ralph here today. And Stuart, let's tell people about your company first of all.
Well, thanks first of all for inviting me on this milestone show.
It's a milestone, isn't it?
It sure is. 300. It's a big number. I've also got this cake in front of me, which looks delicious. It's a really distracting.
That's right. We are going to be digging into a beautiful cake. It says Happy 300th Show. You can see that on YouTube if you tune in. In the meantime, yes, your company, you brought us some tremendous guests in the past, and you're here today for this milestone show. But in case people don't know, public content.
Sure, I appreciate
Let's tell
it.
people what you do.
So, well, we're actually celebrating our 1-year anniversary this month.
Wow.
We're a public relations and marketing firm that specializes in media relations, community relations, and social media. I've actually grew up in Houston, lived in New York for about 9 years doing public relations and marketing there. When we moved back, started an agency called Studio Communications 17 years ago. Almost 17 years ago this month. So, but it's been an exciting ride. I've gotten to know a lot of amazing people like Ralph, because one of our primary sectors is real estate. We also work a lot in hospitality with hotels and restaurants, and also some retail.
In fact, as he was mentioning downtown and a lot of the buildings being renovated and sold and all those things, I mean, you've had your hand in hotels and apartments, the high rises, and let's talk a little bit about some of those things,
Sure.
your projects that you've had lately, and some of the guests you've had.
Well, I'd love to go even further back than that. One of our first clients in Houston was Hotel Icon, and it was a really amazing opportunity for us to sell the city. The restaurateur at the time was Jean-Georges Vangerten, who's internationally known, and Randy Gerber, who's married to Cindy Crawford, operated the bar there. So that was, for us, an incredible way to start reaching out to our New York contacts to get media to come to Houston, really for the purposes of writing positive stories. And that's a lot of what we do is sort of not just working internally with people like Ralph, within Houston to share sort of breaking business news, but also working on the lifestyle side to really promote the city, along with with what was then the Convention and Visitors Bureau and now Visit Houston, which is really an amazing organization. And I think people don't realize how much happens behind the scenes to develop these storylines about the city that you might read in a Travel and Leisure or a Condé Nast Traveler or a food magazine. There are a number of people in Houston that work in this field that really beat the drum hard about why this is such a great city to be in.
And when we think about that, this reminds me of an interview that we had early on within our first 50 shows, and if people tune in, read the Wall Street Journal, especially the Friday real estate edition in the Mansion, you'll see Robbie Briggs of Briggs Freeman,
Right.
Sotheby's International Realty. We had Robbie on the show actually at the same day we had John Doherty. Side note, they were friends and they just happened to be on at the same time.
Right.
But I'll never forget what Robbie Briggs said, and that is, he says people have something we already know, and that people have their eyes on Houston all over the world. And he did a lot of visits to China, Saudi Arabia, so he has his hand on that international real estate. But I think we all know that by those that are coming here, those that will come, there's a lot of people looking at Houston, even if they're not on their way.
There are, and it was interesting. I went to a naturalization service, I guess if you call it, a swearing in for new citizens about a week and a half ago, and it was pretty fascinating. Of the 2,500 people that were sworn in as new U.S. citizens, there were 109 countries represented, and I think
109.
I think that's out of a total of 160 or 170 worldwide. So I think it says a lot, and it was interesting to hear a lot of the speakers there who, we're talking about immigrants and how important they are to our community, and how they've really been such a driver in Houston. I myself was actually born in South Africa. My dad was a doctor, so we moved here in the 1970s, because of the opportunities that Houston afforded. And it's been incredible to see, how much the city has changed since then. And I think I grew up in the center of the city, and, it was a very dicey place back then. It was a very kind of, when they say Wild West, I mean, it was truly kind of a Wild West city with, so many things happening at once. And so I think, to have gone through that boom in the 70s and then, to see the city dip at points. But I think what's been amazing is no matter what the dip has been, is how Houstonians have sort of pushed through. And I think, Ralph can attest more to this, but, I think, in the 80s, that's when the Wortham was built. And so even in down times, I think people in Houston, either through philanthropic efforts or through business efforts, there's always something happening. For me, what's been especially exciting to see, again, from working at Hotel Icon, 17 plus years ago, how downtown has changed and evolved. How it's a living, breathing place. It's an active neighborhood. I think as these parks sort of filter around downtown and the freeways start to disappear, just like they did to a degree maybe in the Montrose area when they dropped 59, that sort of connected those neighborhoods and made it easier to cross from Montrose into Southampton. if you're riding a bike, it's awesome to be able to go over the freeway, and and I think having those bridge elements with the LED lighting, it sort of adds another facet to it. But downtown has been exciting. I mean, I think you've got projects like the Allen Center, which I think Ralph will probably know better this than me, but I think it was developed in the 70s and 80s. Now they're going in and doing a lot of reconfiguration to make it more user friendly. You've got Garden Grace restaurant from Denver moving in soon, which is going to be an amazing asset. The new C. Baldwin Hotel, which is gorgeous, and that's joining so many other things that are happening, around downtown. So it's not just in one area. We've been thrilled to be a part of the launch for Hotel Alessandra, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and a number of high rises. Catalyst, which is in near Minute Maid Park, Sky House buildings. So there's again, I mean, it's a living, breathing place, and I think that's why it's a great time to be in Houston. I mean, I think the city is starting to feel like a more cohesive place, and I think a lot of that is because of what's happening, the infill that's happening between. You've got areas like the Allen Parkway corridor that are now starting to flesh out that area between River Oaks, basically, and downtown that was made, I think, in many parts possible by the incredible work that was done to Buffalo Bayou Park. I mean, when I was a kid, there was police tape basically lined up and down there every weekend, and now it's one of, I think one of the assets of the city, and it's part of our skyline. So that's one of our visuals now is Buffalo Bayou and those beautiful green spaces leading into downtown.
Well, we talk about skyline. I have to reference one of my first visions of Houston, visiting here on several business trips. But the first time I remember coming from the international airport on 45, as soon as I got on the 610 loop on the west side, there's a part, and I could feel the excitement way back. This is 1981. I could feel that excitement. There was a little bit of a rise where there used to be a Marriott Brook Hollow, but I don't know what it's called now. Anyway, going up that rise and looking to the left at the city of Houston, that skyline, at that time, it still does. I was so excited, and I would call back to my home office, man, this is such an economically exciting city. And one of the distinctions we had back then, and maybe long before, but certainly we still have that now, we have friendly people. People mention that all the time, I think.
No, I think it makes a big difference, because I think in a lot of cities, when I lived in New York, people would sort of make a point to say, oh, you should speak to this person. This would be a great person for you to connect with about business. I think in Houston, people go that next step, and it's actually, when can I get you to meet this person? Or let's set up a coffee or a cocktail so you can actually connect with them. And I think that's what drives a lot of business in a way that doesn't happen in other cities. I mean, I think we're a busy city, but I think at the same time we still have the time, or make the time, to connect with people.
Let's tell people, you mentioned Hotel
Alessandra, correct.
So let's tell them a little bit about that hotel. And in honor of this 300th show, you decided to award somebody a special package. So let's tell them, first of all, about the hotel, and then we'll talk about the package that you're going to grant.
Hotel Alessandra is a Valencia Group managed property. It was built by Midway. He's done so many amazing things in Houston, including City Center. They've just created a new project on Washington with a new HEB, which is pretty phenomenal. And they're working on something also incredibly amazing downtown called East River, which is going to be a really game-changing development on the east side that's going to be connected with Buffalo Bayou. The hotel is a contemporary, but at the same time has a really interesting sort of elements of almost like Art Deco style woven in a very kind of modern way. Houston-based designer Lorna Rote, who actually is international acclaimed. She's designed everything from the Surrey, New York, to some new Four Seasons properties in Bogota, to the bungalows at the Beverly Hills Hotel, did the interiors. It's just a really lush, beautiful property, intimate, incredible, a fantastic restaurant with a chef who started his career in Mexico and worked with Philippe Schmidt, who a lot of people might know from Hotel Derrick days, Philippe Restaurant on Post Oak. So that chef was a protege of his, Jose Hernandez. But again, great property, amazing location in the Green Street district. So you've got.
So what street's it on, to give us an idea?
It's West Dallas and Main. Website is www.hotel-alessandra.com.
Alessandra.com.
Correct. And it's Alessandra.
Stewart, that sounds like a nice place for a weekend getaway.
Sure is. It's people love it for romantic staycations. Obviously, it's been very busy this week with the World Series. Guests coming in from all over the country.
Well, what we've done, we've taken realtors that have been on the show this past year, 2019, as of last show, going back. So we put their names in the Stewart bag right now. And that's the Stewart Rosenberg bag, by the way.
Stewart and
so
Stewart,
we
for
have
sure.
that. You're going to reach in that bag and find out who is going to be awarded a night stay. Let's describe the package that you're offering.
The winner's going to enjoy an overnight stay with valet parking for one car and a choice of a 30-minute massage or facial at Spa by Alessandra.
I'd take the massage, but I'm not eligible.
I'm with you as well. So, yeah,
Well, go ahead, reach into the Stewart Rosenberg bag right there, and we'll find out who will be awarded this fun.
Okay. Do you want me to read this out?
Just give me the number on the back.
Bill, number is 29.
Number 29. That corresponds to our list of real estate agents that have been on the show. And number 29 is Mandy Gonzalez, Martha Turner, Sotheby's International Realty. And Mandy is in the The Woodlands office. And she was brought on the show by our business development officer, Becky Shannonhouse. So if you're out there, Mandy, you just have a stay at Hotel Alessandra that's coming up, and we're going to take care of the details right there.
Correct.
Thanks to
Congratulations.
Public Content and to Stewart Rosenberg. That's pretty exciting.
Thrilled to do it.
Super awesome. Well, Stewart, before we close this segment out, what else would you like people to know about your company, or who should reach out to you and that would need your help?
Well, we work with a number of different categories, but primarily developers. We work in the residential space as well. Funnily enough, Martha Turner is one of our clients and has been a long-time client of ours. So that's exciting. The retail space, hotels and restaurants.
Very nice. And we will be reaching out to Mandy Gonzalez with Martha Turner, Sotheby's International Realty. And how can people reach you, Stewart?
I am Stewart, Stuart, at public, PUBLIC-content, CONTENT.com.
Sounds super awesome. Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg.
Thank you.
We're coming right back. Stay with us, please, on show number 300. Cyber criminals are on the offensive. In real estate, the average loss of a wire fraud scheme is $130,000. How do we fight these risks? Establish a good defense. At Stewart Insurance, we believe there are two sides to a formidable defense. Manage the risk, offset the risk with insurance. Concerned if your insurance is offsetting the cyber risk? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if you are properly insured. Connect with us at stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827, 866-798-2827. As we march on, show number 300, and without Tom Carpentier, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance, we wouldn't have any of these shows. Gentlemen, thank you for being on the show, and thank you so much.
Bill, thank you.
Howdy, Bill.
It's always great to be here.
I remember when we first talked about doing this. I mean, we're going way back, Tom, 5.67 years, if my calculator serves me right, if I divide 300. But remember that back at Post Oak? And we had the offices together, and there we were. We had brought this idea to a reality thanks to you and your team. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been over 5 years, but it's been a lot of fun and a great success. I remember when we first talked about the idea, you brought it to me, and you mentioned you had this great idea to bring a radio show to the real estate marketplace, and I immediately thought that's a great idea. You had a vision for the future that, quite honestly, without you, it would have never been invented. So kudos to you for all the great work you've done over these years. It's really amazing. The biggest thing, reflecting on these 5 years, really, for all related to all the guests and all the content is, we've always talked about that, knowledge is super valuable, but knowledge that you can leverage is a great prize, and that's something that I think you've delivered on this show. It's one of the visions that you set out was to have become a real resource for real estate, and reflecting on all the guests and the information that's been provided, it's there. I mean, whether you're a real estate professional in the marketplace, whether you're just interested in real estate, you can tune in and learn so much. Or even consumers that are looking to purchase or sell a property, they can tune in and get a lot of information that can help them drive their decisions.
And I will say this, I thought about this the other day, and as far as people interested in real estate, you don't have to be buying or selling or even thinking about it. I think almost at all times, almost everybody is interested in real estate. It's like that even before the internet. It's like, to me, the Sunday paper where people would get that real estate section out, whether they're not going to buy a home in 10 years. They just like looking at the pictures, seeing what's going on. And that's such an important thing. And I think this show has done that as well. It gives people an insight, even when they're not interested in buying or selling. They see and hear about the realtors talk, the mortgage people talk. And I think that's all great.
It is. It really is. I mean, I think that you can be just someone not involved in real estate in your neighborhood. I think people see a house go up for sale. I know my wife is guilty of this. She sees a house go up for sale, she's immediately on the real estate site seeing what that house is listed for. And just because at the end of the day, I mean, so much wealth is in real estate. And so I think whether you're just a single family homeowner or a major developer, real estate is a big driver for all of us. So I think there's an intuitive desire to just know about it. And again, this show really kind of delivers on it. I've been fascinated by the number of guests that you had and the breadth of information that's come through the show. I've personally learned a lot from the show over the years, and it's helped us with our business because we are an insurance organization that pretty much strictly focuses on real estate, and our high level vision is to be the most admired insurance resource for real estate. So it gives great insights for businesses that operate within real estate.
And I think we should officially say this. I think we've said it through various shows, but as people know Stewart Title, we're in business over 127, I've lost count, plus years, started in Galveston, Texas, now an international company traded on the stock exchange as STC. That's a long time. People in Houston know Stewart Title. However, your company, Stewart Insurance, sometimes they think, oh, title insurance, that's the same thing, but it's not. Let's remind people the distinction. You're in business now over 13 years.
Correct. Yep.
But you're Stewart Insurance, and you're providing a different kind of insurance. So let's just remind people of that difference and all the categories of insurance that you offer.
Yeah, our focus has been in real estate. Of course, Stewart has that long history, and it's a strong legacy brand that especially here in Houston is really, really well known, and quite honestly across the country it's really well known. And Stewart has always kind of had their eyes wide open to look at areas where they can provide additional resources to the client base that they serve within their core business. And so we looked at it and said, you know what, there are some problems in the industry in terms of parties of the transaction or folks involved in real estate with obtaining various types of property and casualty insurance that can suit their needs. And so we kind of stepped back and looked at that. And so we have a great network of insurance companies that we broker for to provide home insurance prior to closings on real estate transactions for buyers. We also have a very a good program to support real estate brokers and their full insurance needs, starting with professional liability to the other forms of insurance they need. We support investors on master group policies for the properties they own. And then we are one of the largest providers of insurance for independent title agent and attorney agents. So independent settlement companies that need the insurance. So, just within that, we've kind of positioned ourselves and continue to grow and add additional channels to better serve the real estate marketplace.
And we've been fortunate to have one of your top ambassadors on the show now on a regular basis, bringing tremendous content to help us all, especially real estate brokers. That is John Bramlett, and he's here right beside you.
Absolutely.
It's awesome, John. So let's tell people. In fact, one of the things I've noticed here the last couple of weeks you've been on, we see the ratings spike. So we know it's a good, we know it's a good thing. And so here you are again. And you always bring forth great topics, but give us an idea of some of the things that you think about as we've had the honor to talk to so many real estate professionals, and we listen, we talk. It's just a fascinating exchange every week now.
Well, I appreciate it, Bill. Thanks for the kind words. And again, congratulations on your 300th show. That's really fantastic. I wanted to echo a little bit what Tom said, that you can learn something from every show. And I'm always fascinated by the nuggets of success that we pick up from the real estate agents, the brokers, and then just your other guests, whether it be, Stewart in the PR and marketing world, or Ralph in the publishing and editorial world. When we had Mr. Ziegler's son on the self-development motivation.
That's right, yeah.
So there's always a nugget of learning that we can pick up from our guests, and you've done a really nice job of pulling out some of the success secrets that those folks have. And I think, as Tom said, it's of real value not only for the folks in the real estate industry, but just those that have an interest in real estate.
Indeed. So give us an idea. The other thing, next week we'll tell people in advance, a topic we've talked about a lot is cybersecurity. In fact, October was Cybersecurity Month. We're seeing it in the Wall Street Journal, other publications all over the place. But we're going to have another show on cybersecurity, which is so important. And that's something that Stewart Insurance can help brokers, not just here in Houston, but sometimes people hear the show after the fact in Kansas, Pennsylvania, California. So you're able to help them there with cybersecurity at Stewart Insurance.
Absolutely. So you operate with a website. You have a cell phone. You communicate with clients and title agencies or independent closing firms. You transfer funds. You share critical personal information. If you do any of that, you're subject to these cyber fraudsters, as the FBI calls them, cyber actors. So you're liable to be attacked by them. So somebody going online and saying, "Hey, Bill, we've changed the closing date, and we need you to send the funds to this new address." But I recognize the address, so Bill says, "Fine, sure, I'll send it." And now the closing funds are sent to the criminals, and they've taken the money. So it's, again, any kind of communication you have that's electronic right now is opened up the possibility for a cyber crime. So you need to truly consider how you communicate, so what things you can do to minimize the risk, but then also from an insurance perspective, work with an insurance advisor like a member of our team to know how you can offset that risk.
That's right. And let's tell people the phone number in case they want to reach out. And you've teased them well enough for next week to tune in, where we're going to go in depth on that subject. But if they want to know about it now and reach out to you, what should they do?
866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. Or they can reach us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
That sounds great. Tom, what else would you like to bring forth here before we close out this segment?
No, just again, thank you for doing this. Again, I echo Stewart's comments that this cake is very tempting here. So
you're sitting in front of the cake.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
it
and
is.
thank you to Roseanne for bringing it. But no, again, thank you, Bill. I think this is again a great differentiator in the real estate marketplace. It's a great place for people in real estate to connect, to learn from each other, and it's a great platform to kind of just drive important information out to everyone related to real estate. Again, echoing John with the cyber the issues that the industry is facing, being able to deliver some information that would help reduce the likelihood of another person falling victim. Just about the marketing capabilities of all these independent agents out there, and the brokers and the lenders, and how they go about growing business. There's just so much to learn, and it's been just, again, a great resource.
It really has. And it's also interesting to see the things we talked about in the beginning and how that has evolved and how it will continue to evolve. That's interesting.
Absolutely.
And John, one more time, the phone number is?
866-798-2827.
That sounds great. And now we're just going to have Roseanne Rogers, our sales manager in Houston and super awesome person,
Oh, wow.
talk to us right now.
That was a
Roseanne,
great intro. Can you go everywhere I go and say that every time?
will
Like I
be
walk
there.
into the room,
That's
be
right.
like, here's my awesome sales manager.
Super awesome. And when we think about that, as you lead the team, Roseanne, in an incredible way all these years, I was thinking about the caliber of people that we now have on our team. It really is super top notch.
It's spectacular because we all come from all different walks of life and in backgrounds, but one thing we all have in common. We live, breathe, real estate, and we have it in our blood. We just do. And that's something that we all have in common. And the fact that we really believe in customer service, and that all of our business development officers, whether it's all the way in the Woodlands or all the way down in Galveston, we love to serve you, and we want to be a resource for you, especially for realtors out there. So it's obviously in our business, it's realtors and lenders, but it's also consumers, because consumers can make decisions on where they want to close. And so it's important to us to have those things that are important to have those individuals that really make those personal connections, because like we get on with our kids, we have so much screen time and not enough face time. So,
That's right.
Yeah, I always get on to my son about that. So I think it's really important that we do have more FaceTime, or I should say listening time now, because we're on the radio, of course.
Speaking of FaceTime, though,
Yes.
the thing about, and I say this a million times, stay close. When you're out there listening, if you're a real estate professional, realtor, or even mortgage person or whatever, stay close to your Stewart Title business development officer. Why? Because they are always doing things to help the community and also as resources for you, the real estate professional. There's some things coming up we should know about, right?
Well, yes, and I'm gonna actually cheat just a little bit, because we have so much coming up with Ted Jones coming up in the new year. We talked about this the whole entire radio show. Is 2020 is around the corner. The countdown
It's almost
is
here.
on, which I can't believe it. And of course, Dr. Ted C. Jones is our chief economist for Stewart Title, and he has his economic forecast for 2020, and he's all over the city beginning on January 14th in Houston. We have 2 different presentations by him at the Amagi Tower, which of course Martha Turner Sotheby's is there, and we're very excited to be with Amagi, partnering with them on this endeavor with Ted Jones, and we're very excited. But then he goes to the Woodlands, Fort Bend County, Tomball, Champion, Cypress. He'll be in League City on the 17th. Also Friendswood and Clear Lake, the Katy area, and Kingwood. He'll be there the 20th of January and January 21st. I'm not expecting everybody to remember this. 21st is in Galveston. But we'll be able to reach out. We'll be reaching out to and save the dates so everyone around the city can hear Dr. Ted C. Jones's economic forecast for 2020.
Dr. Ted C. Jones.
C. Jones, that's right.
That's right, the 8th wonder of the real estate world. We're
He's
so
incredible.
we're glad he's on our team, right?
Yes, I'm very glad he's on our
And
team.
people can get a preview because he'll be on the show here in December. So many great things are happening. No doubt about it. Again, that's why you should stay close. Whoever is listening to your Stewart Title BDO, they will reach out to you about these events, and you can reach out to them if you want to beat them to the punch.
Well, speaking of events, what is coming up, Bill, that you have 2 shifts that I know you cannot wait for? Let me
something
think.
about a Nutcracker?
The
yeah.
Nutcracker Market benefiting the Houston Ballet. There's only almost 120,000 people that come through those doors over the
We'll be
4
there.
day. We will be there because we're the Stewart Title Selfie Elfies. So look out, because we're there with our selfie station to take pictures of everybody who's shopping, mixing and mingling, and maybe, doing some eating and drinking as well. But we have a great time. We have buses. We have bus loads that come in from all different areas. So if you're interested, what was that thing that you said about you're reaching out to your business development officer in your
stay
area
close
if you want tickets?
to that Stewart Title
I'm
BDO.
telling you.
Reach out to him now. Get ahead of the curve.
Get ahead.
There's in fact, I'm going to make 2 appearances there. And
Yes,
if you
you
want to
are.
be on
Thank
the
you.
radio, you might see me that first day when it
Which
opens,
is
I think.
Great.
What's that, Thursday?
Yes, I'm so excited because this year we have Houston Ballet dancers joining us.
Oh, my.
Part of it, because this is a benefit for the ballet. We are community leaders as well as business leaders, and this is something that this is our 3rd year, and we love being the Stewart Title Selfie Alfies. We've got T-shirts and all, and you're going to see me in a tutu. I might not be a ballerina, but I'm going to be in that tutu. God, my goodness. Okay,
Well,
I'm just going to really get in the spirit of things this year.
Roseanne, there's some people we want to thank too, don't we?
Yes.
How about Larry?
How about our division
Warren?
president, Larry Warren,
That
our group
guy's something.
president, John Magnus, and we're so excited that his son is on our team as well in the
Bobby.
Heights, Bobby, who happened to also be my son's baseball coach at Post Oak Little League. Now, how does that happen, right?
I don't know. I was wondering.
I mean, my
was
son and I
wondering.
have different last names, and he got recruited on a team, and Bobby happens. It's a synergy, right? You got good
Things are
synergy.
meant
This
to
is
be.
what happened when you bring good people together. And of course, our new CEO.
We're so glad he's on board.
Fred is amazing. He's Eppinger. He's really amazing. He has such a great sense of professionalism. He's done so many wonderful things in his past, and we're so excited that he's leading our company, not just the team, but he's leading our company now, and we're very excited to have him on board and his perspective and looking for 2020 and moving on from years to come. Under
Super
his
timing.
leadership, I'm very, very excited about it.
We all are. Before we close out, Roseanne, what else would you like people to know?
I want to eat some cake.
We're gonna
okay,
eat
so
some
we have
cake.
to eat some cake
There
because
you
we're all
go.
about celebrating. I hope to see everyone at the Nutcracker Market, and if we don't see you there, hopefully see you at one of Ted C. Jones's economic forecasts is in January.
And
Looking
we'll
forward.
promote that on the show in December as well. We'll remind people about that. If someone wants to reach out to you, Roseanne?
It's very easy. You can just email me at roseanne.rogers@stewart.com. You can also just call me at 281-713. I know I have 2 area codes, 281-713-0710.
One more time.
281-713-0710.
And now, before we close out the show, Ralph Bivins is back, realtynewsreport.com. Ralph, just let's remind people they want to get the book. I know they do. Houston 2020, America's BoomTown. Let's tell people how do they do that.
Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. My favorite local bookstore, River Oaks Bookstore on Westheimer there.
place.
You know, and some other other stores.
Now,
and
will that be on your realtynewsreport.com as far as your book signings and things?
yes, we'll
That's
make
all.
sure we got that
They
together.
just need to go there.
But this is a big deal with the 300.
I know. She's cutting the cake right now. But, Ralph, should people be sad that the show is ending at the time of broadcast? No, they shouldn't, right?
No,
Because it never ends. It's at stewart.com/Houston.
Oh,
That's
we can
right.
Hear it anytime.
You can hear it anytime. All the shows, stewart.com/Houston. In fact, you can not just hear them, but take a glance at the tremendous guests we've had since show number 1. It's all right there. Stewart.com/Houston. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Larry Warren, John Magnus, Fred Eppinger, Roseanne Rogers, Tom Carpentier, all the great guests here today. Ralph Bivins, John Bramlett, Stuart Rosenberg. Did I say that twice? I don't know. There's a lot of Stewarts. I'm saying Stuart a lot. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Stewart.com/Houston. Thank you, Roseanne, for the cake. Awesome.